question that I often get asked is, what plants can I use in my garden that have fragrance? Beautiful fragrance. Now, there are a lot of things out there, folks. Really, really loads. But here's the key to it. Number one, make sure that you plant them really close to your home. So just at the edge of the patio or in a gorgeous pot where you can then enjoy them. Now, this little baby here is a fantastic fragrant plant. It's part of the jasmine family. It's called Jasmine multiportatum. Gets these beautiful big star-shaped flowers right throughout the summer. Now, this baby, in my opinion, is much happier when it's in a pot. That's where I think it does well, because you can trim it, you can keep it the size that you want it. In the garden, it kind of tends to, it doesn't really know if it's a bit of a climber or a shrub or a low-growing shrub. So unless you are going to tend to it and prune it frequently, it's going to get a bit out of hand. But that's not saying that you can't take it and put it further into the garden, into the back of beds, where it can kind of take on its own shape and do what it needs to do. This is a great plant. Can do in semi-shade or in the full sun, and that's why I like it. Next to it here is probably the most favorite of all, and probably the toughest of all fragrant plants, is the Trachelospermum jasminoides. Now, also part of the jasmine family. Now, this guy, oh man, and as I was walking past it, you just get these wafts of it. It's gorgeous. This plant can be used and trimmed into either a hedge, or it can be used just to grow as a ground cover, or as a creeper going up trellises or right over walls. It is so versatile, incredibly tough, can grow on the high veld as well as right down on the coast, and in summer it is just clothed in these beautiful, beautiful white flowers. Tough as nails. Remember, once it's finished flowering, it's important to give it a light pruning, because that then encourages the new growth. There's also a variegated variety of this available, which you might find at your local garden centre. So remember, folks, this is an incredibly versatile plant. It's called Trachelospermum jasminoides. It can be used as a ground cover, underneath large trees, or even right in the full sun. It can creep over pergolas or walls, and it can also be trimmed to form a neat little hedge. It really is a winner, and it's one of those no-kill plants. Very difficult to get rid of. This one over here, also white flowers, is called Carissa macrocarpa, also known as the num-num plant. Gets these lovely white fragrant flowers right throughout summer. You get two varieties. You get the dwarf variety, which is this one. Then you get the taller one, and that really forms a huge hedge. It's got thorns like that long on it. Great for security hedging. Plus, it also gets a fruit. Once it's finished flowering, it gets these beautiful red fruit on it. Some of you might remember when you're walking down to the beach on the dunes, this is the plant that grows naturally. It gets that big red fruit that when you bite into it, it's got that milky substance. That is Carissa. Great hedging plant, great for security, and beautiful for fragrance. Then, whoever thought that fruit trees might have an awesome fragrance? Well, of course they do. This is an ornamental citrus tree, and it's called a calamondin. Now, calamondin gets a little fruit. In fact, on here, do you see this little guy over here? That's its fruit. Now, this fruit is probably going to get to the size of a 50-cent piece. Because it's variegated, it also has the stripes in its fruit. It really is cute. So the fruit's about yo big. Okay, I gotta tell you this, it's quite sour, but let me tell you, if you like sour worms or anything like that, they're fabulous. They're great for making jams and kind of preserves, but most importantly, it's a stunning, handsome specimen of a plant. And it gets these white flowers that are heavenly, citrus, fragrant, that beautiful fragrance that we know that's accompanied with citrus plants. This is great. Lovely in a pot. Put it in your veggie garden, maybe to give a bit of structure, and other than that, you really are going to be able to enjoy loads and loads of this plant for its awesome fragrant flowers. An indigenous fragrant plant is the Buddleia. Buddleia is known throughout South African gardens because we love them. They produce awesome flowers like this, from white to pink to the mauve like this. This is one of the new hybrid varieties known as Buddleia Buzz. It only gets to about 1 meter in height, so it's great for townhouse gardens, because the older variety of Buddleias, its distant cousin, gets huge. I mean, really, really big. So this is a good plant for smaller gardens, produces these beautiful panicles of mauve flowers, and haha, beautifully fragrant, absolutely fantastic. Folks, when it's finished flowering, prune it back hard, and I mean really hard. Give it a good pruning so it can come away again and look with this new foliage, because that's when it then can recover. It likes growing in the full sun, well-drained soil, is a good pot specimen, and likewise equally a great specimen for the garden.